Hi guys, it's that time again. Which is better? But this time it's a CRYPTOPSY special. So if you're into CRYPTOPSY, or you like death metal, or just curious, then this is definitely for you. So I'll be leaving links in the description to check out songs by INCANTATION, and even links to check out my Instagram and Twitter page. There you get to see what band merch looks like and what songs I'm listening to on a daily basis. And the two albums I'm going to be looking at are None So Vile and Blasphemy's Made Flesh. So looking at None So Vile, there's only one word to describe this album: brutal. This album contains unrelenting death metal, and the music is just all out fast and furious. Lil Wayne's vocals make the album sound heavier than it already is. The music on here is pretty much up-tempo the whole way through, and the lead guitar work is just solid. The rhythms are anything but catastrophic. They just know how to make effective death metal, and technical death metal that is. The album pretty likable because the riffs were well thought out and technical. This band pretty much paved the way to modern technical death metal like Archspire and so on. The leads are definitely spellbinding, and the rhythms are ferociously fast. The whole album is pretty much like this. There isn't much let up though, but the tempos do change, and it's a mixture of riffs and a lot of speed and some downpicking. But it's all well-rounded and overall. CRYPTOPSY just know how to come up with music that's amazingly original and expansive. The riff writing is likable, and I think they put forth original sounding licks, crunch distortion, and a lot of tremolo picking galore. The music and the vocals stole it from me, like absolutely. I haven't heard them sound like this recently, but for the mid-90s they came up with some songs that definitely defied the odds. They definitely set the tone for their genre, and the music mainly is what stole it from me. The fast picking, the intensity just steals the listener, and I don't think this album can ever be duplicated by them. No one fluctuates on here with low growls contrasted that of a high-pitched screaming. Everything about this release is just so likable. The album deserves an A. Absolutely, really does. There ain't really many flaws in this album, and everything came together on this. The music, the drums, the vocals, production quality, it was just all extravagant. This is one you can keep playing and it just doesn't sound wrong. You might be able to find this album on YouTube or other streaming apps like Spotify. Uncompromising and unrelenting. It's just an album that packs a punch to your eardrums. It's worth checking out. It's definitely an old album, but it's worth finding out about it. The production gave it justice, and the listener has no real caveats except to really get to hear spellbinding death metal galore. They just tear it up. Worth checking out. Watching games want to look at Blasphemy's Made Flesh. So when it comes to brutal technical death metal in Canada, only CRYPTOPSY seem to do it right, mixing great grooves and Lawrence fantastic vocals and lyrics, technical drumming, and the guitars heavier than troubles, some of the floppiest bass ever recorded. This band's show can all work together just to make amazing death metal. This album is home to many fantastic riffs. The riffs are heavy enough for traditional death metal, but also groovy enough to keep you interested. Some riffs are speedy and mostly thrash-like. The opening track, Defenestration and Ravaged, a solid layer of groove for some great bass work, and powerful drumming to shine on like songs like Mutant Christ. The guitar tone on this debut is pretty interesting. It sounds as if strange left to right feeling, along with the fuzzy distortion and being low in the mix. It can be heard. Times to tell what is actually being played other than pure fuzz. This doesn't necessarily take away from the album that can be turned to some, other than the great riffs and fuzz. There are some tasty solos on this album. Mutant Christ, Serial Messiah, and Abigail have really great melodic solos, by the way, and they are very memorable and have great structures and display the talents of John Levessier. I hope I said that right. Presented here are amazing to say the least. though very sloppy, very raw, and very rough. Lil Wurm is truly a master of his craft and displays it well, along with Steve Tavolt and Flo Monio backing in Memories of Blood and the end of Pathological Frolic. Wurm's voice is one of the most hard to understand in death metal. I've listened to this album many times over and I can just practically make out what Lord Wurm is saying. And to be honest, in the realm of death metal, this isn't really a bad thing. Within this album might be the greatest scream in all of death metal, and case in point, I'm talking about the song Open Face Surgery. Wurm here gives us a powerful yet terrifying 4 minute and a half a scream that can give anybody the chills. The lyrics are also great, mostly consisting of morbid gore stories about throwing people through windows, autoerotic asphyxiation, sinning, the usual stuff. The lyrics are well written in pretty strange ways though, having tons of weird wordings and medical textbook style gore inspirations. Monio provides some complex and even jazzy at times drumming. His kit has a tremendous sound that really makes it stand out. The drums are very high in the mix and are even louder than Lord Wurm's vocals at times. The snare itself is super tight, has a great snap and is super loud. I personally love this snare tone. It's one of my favourites in extreme metal. The song Ravaged shows the great snare tone perfectly, with some quick rolls of the snare and one of the specialities in his blasting on the China cymbal. Displayed perfectly on the closing track Pathological Frolic and Memories of Blood. This is what really makes Monio stand out. His ability to ride tight grooves like on Born Headless and yet blast it like it's nobody's business. Though his blast beats on the China really dominate the whole mix when presented that they don't ruin much, but really drive up the intensity. Along with the drums, Martin Ferguson's bass work is really prominent. Much like the drums, the bass is often jazzy and plays some great independent rhythms, in on the opening track, Mute Christ, and even on the song Swine of the Cross. Surprisingly, the bass is louder than the guitars for the most part. The bass really makes this album stand out in terms of originality. It gives great support to the tight pocket of Monio's drumming and keeps up with Levasia's playing, and isn't scared to go out on its own. Overall, this album is phenomenal and it's a must for any fan of great riffs, raw vocals and great rhyme section. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought was the better album. Other than that, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.